Hey, good evening, folks. It's Jason here, one of the pro traders over at TrueTrader.net. Everybody over there at the chat knows me as TheGoose. I've been around the business since the early mid-90s, 93 or 94, I think, is when I started up, and I feel like I got a lot to add for you guys. I was a market maker as well. I try to keep these to about 10, 12 minutes long, so you could whip through them and kind of get an idea of what goes through my mind when I'm looking for ideas and scans. So hopefully you guys are finding this helpful. If you are finding it helpful, guys, please hit the like button and make sure you hit subscribe, and also come check us out over there at TrueTrader.net. So with that being said, let's just jump right into things and go over the disclaimer. So TrueTrader Nordic representatives are registered as a security broker dealer or an investment advisor with the SEC or any state regulatory authorities. Not licensed nor qualified to provide investment advice. Guys, I want to emphasize this is for entertainment purposes only. This is not investment advice. Don't follow me. Don't copy me. Always have your own plans. This is just for educational and entertainment purposes only. So let's get into some charts and start talking some, what I'm looking at here. So last Wednesday, if you remember, I was talking about the SPY and the NQ, how important. I'd love to see it come in and touch the 50-day or come into that level. Well, we kind of got our wish on that, and ever since then, it's been straight back up again, which it's been pretty interesting. I wanted to show you guys something. We closed green again today. This is the SPY that I have up right here. And as you can see, look at this purple line is the 50-day. So you can see these kisses off the 50-day. If you actually look, it's about every 2 or 3 weeks, you see it come down, touch it, and then make new highs. So pretty interesting pattern. The Qs look very similar. The Qs didn't touch last time, as you see. But a very similar pattern. The SPY has really been hugging the 50-day. This has been a little bit more intermediate term. The 6 month. This is a 6 month, the 126 moving average here, the yellow line. But needless to say, you could see the same type of action. Came over, kissed it, which is what we were hoping for, and back and making new highs again. So I will say, when the market's making new highs, I've always found the scans, being a little bit more challenging for me. It's just. I like to look for long setups, and obviously if things are looking good and in some of the names that I like, it's a little bit more challenging to find them, but I think I got a pretty good list that I put together and some thoughts on some names. So let's jump right in. I'm going to start off with BBBY, Bed Bath & Beyond. So I drew a little trend line just to show you. Now, trend lines I just use as just another tool, guys. I don't sit there and trade only the trend lines. It's just something that I look at. And as you can see, so this little yellow trend line that I drew down, you can kind of see it after it's made this. I kind of have this, thought in my mind that it's going to start breaking back out and make this little turn, a little curl here. So it hit up on my charts. It definitely was something I wanted to look at. I wrote down on Bed Bath Beyond 2820. Let me blow this up a little bit for you. And 2820, as you can see, is right off this. The previous low was 2787. I actually went to the annual pivot right here. And my thought process is I want to kind of see it make a higher low on a daily channel. So I figured it would hold this annual pivot area 2820 to be just above the whole number, and then let's see if it wants to clear these previous day's highs. So I think there's decent range in the name. We'll see what happens in it, but that's Bed Bath Beyond 2820. We'll see what's happening, see if a breakout is incoming on that one. Also, last week I made some comments, and I want to make sure I get it right. I kept referring to Market Smith. It's not or Market Watch. It's not Market Watch. It's Market Smith I use. I don't know what got into me last week between leaving the news on and you guys hear news going the whole time, and me saying Market Smith. I guess I had an off week mentally there when it came to recording. I apologize for that. But it's Market Smith. So some of these names that I was referring to, I pull from Market Smith off my scans. GPRE is one of them. So this is a name that's been trending really nicely. It has a couple dollar, ATR. And I started to see this kind of how it's hugging this 50-day area, how it closed above it yesterday. This purple line, the 50-day right here. And it closed above it yesterday, and it closed above it again today. What I wrote down GPRE is off 3410, which is just above the 50-day. It's a little bit below today's lows, but I was just leaving a little bit of room. As long as it stays above that 50-day area, I think this could be a nice trade. You could also trade it off the low is 34.23. I had written down 34.10. I just picked the middle between the 50-day and today's lows on that one. But GPRE, watch for some continuation here, and I think it might be a decent one. So GPRE is one. U.S. Steel. I just want to show you what I was looking at U.S. Steel. That's the letter X. I wrote down 27 to 27.20, just in this range. And what I'm looking at, I'm going to again blow this up for you. This light blue line is a 20-day, and you can see how it's been hugging the 20-day. Now, the one thing I'll tell you is I don't love the fact that it closed on lows. That's something that I really take notice of. When a stock closes on lows, a lot of times it might open up a little weak the following day. Same thing if it closed on highs. I'll look for strength the next day, so maybe a pullback to get long into it. So this is working a little bit against me, but because I've been seeing this hold this 20-day here, I wrote down I just want to watch the action off this 27 to 27.20 area, see if it holds. It's a stock that has decent range, so if I have such tight risk where I'm risking a dime or a quarter or something like that on a name like this, on a name like US Steel, I feel like there's plenty of opportunity upside. I mean, it has a $1.40 ATR, so it could be a really good risk reward type play. So it's been hugging the 20-day. We'll see what happens on that. That's letter X. Snap, maybe here we go here. Snap, I wrote down 73.50, and all I wanted to show you guys is how it's been holding support for 3 days straight. This is a name that had, it had this big move. It's been consolidating. It came off this nice support level. Again, it's support again. It's been holding for 3 days straight at the 73.50 area. It closed at 74.69. We'll see what happens, see if it wants to do a quick dip for us in the morning right off that same support area and give us an opportunity on the long. So I'll be watching Snap at 73.50. And that's right, you can see 3 days in a row it's been holding that support area. Here's a name that's been real strong. I think Ricky covered it a couple weeks ago, talked about it in his Sunday prep. But NUE is a name I want to watch. Listen, this is a real tricky one because you can make the argument up here that it made a lower high on the daily from here and to right here. But all I want to do is I want to watch if it does come in tomorrow and you see some weakness in the name. It's been a really tremendously strong name. If I drew a trend line here, you'd see exactly what I'm looking at. I could kind of draw a quick one for you real quick here. See if I do a trend line here. Oop. Shaky hand. Sorry about that. There you go. But you could see, I mean, if it pulls back, what I'm looking for is a pullback into NUE 116.10, which is right off this monthly pivot and these two lows right here. And you can see that still be holding trend from this earlier time, mid-July area. So I just wanted to take a quick look at this one. I think it's a stock that's been really strong. If it makes a little pullback, it's still holding trend in my opinion, and since mid-July, I think it could be a nice long opportunity there. So NUE. JWN was one today that I traded. I want to go back to that one. Listen, the numbers look good to me. When I refer to the numbers, I'm telling you my opinion on them. I look for guidance. I look at what they've done, top and bottom line. I don't pull out the Qs and the Ks and dive into them as deep as some other fundamental analysts. That's not what I do. I just look at the guidance and I like to look at coverage and other things of that nature. But pretty simple to me. It had to have been something on the conference call, or it could be one seller. We traded STX a couple days ago. It was the same exact thing, and then seller lifts today, and the stock gave 4 or 5 points from where it was yesterday. So I don't know whether JWN is going to have the same type of reaction, but on JWN I wrote down I'm not talking 4 or 5 points on a $30 stock. Let's make sure I make that clear. But JWN off $30. You can see that there's down here you got 2 monthlies in a row from 2 months plus a quarterly just below that in the mid 26s. I think it should find its support with the whole number at 30 if it wants to have one more day where it flushes down in the morning. If not, I'll look to today's lows and possibly trade it off today's lows, which was 30.84. But right now, my main spot that I'm looking for is off that $30, the whole number, those monthly pivots, a prior quarterly. See if that seller lifts and see if it gives us a really monster trade tomorrow on JWN. It'll be really high on my watch, JWN tomorrow. Today is the day of retailers, so I'm going to have a few retailers on here today. Urban's another one that I want to look at. Urban, URBN. So for Urban, I wrote down 35.80, which is right off this quarterly. You can see the support area right here that it's been holding. So, with Urban, you got a quarterly pivot right here. You can see it's a stock that's been definitely trending. Looks good. It's above the 200-day. I wrote down 35.80 to see if it wants to dip in there. My notes on it was, again, good numbers, nice support, quarterly pivot and support area. Let's watch for Urban to hold that number. Again, same thing as JWN. If it wants to hold today's lows, which will be yesterday's tomorrow. How's that for confusion? Which was 36.40. I might even trade it off that level and do an add off my off the 3580 area. We'll see how it trades tomorrow and see how it opens. Last retail one. Well, I guess you could argue Peloton's retail, but you know what I mean. Let's take this off for a second and look at ROST stores. I broke down 122.20. 122.20 is just below the 50-day, and 122.20 was also the previous day's low. You can see the candle that it was bought right back up today. I like this as an opportunity. Looking good to me on the chart. Closed above the 50-day. Well, let's watch, see if it wants to come back, test that 50-day and that previous day's lows. 122.20 on this one. We'll see how it acts. It was a good trade today on it. A little bit lighter volume name. Just have that in mind. Two more left. We go into DDD. I wrote down 29, which is the previous lows and a 20-day. So let's blow this up for a sec. This light blue line is a 20-day. You can see 2 days in a row it's held the 20-day. And I'm looking for a clear on this above 30.70. And I think if it comes, it's going to be a nice one. So let's see what happens. You know, it's a name that I've kind of stalked a little bit. I've had a couple good trades on it. But off 29, which is the 20-day, as well as these previous day lows, I think it should be a really nice one. So we'll see what happens on DDD. Last one, Peleton, PTON, whatever you want to call it. Stock closed almost on highs today. I wrote down 112.50, which is an annual pivot and prior low. This is a name that I kind of come back to. You can see how it closed 2 days in a row, closed close to highs. You see what happens the next day. 112.50 is right off this annual pivot and the previous day's low. The other way to play this one, and this is the other side I'm going to play. So I wrote down 112.50 is going to be off this 20-day, which is going to be 114.16. Okay, you see that 20-day here, this light blue line? And if I drew that, you'd see that's about you could look at how the line cuts right across. It's about a 50 or 60% retrace from today's move. So that's the other way to play this. So tomorrow, if it shows some weakness and it decides to hold that 114 area, that might be a starting point for me. But you see what I'll do is I'll look for strong names that close on highs, and then what I'll be looking for is a retrace that following day to see it come in, 40% to 60%, and look for a long opportunity. Let's see if it holds a low, and then gives me a good entry point. So that's Peleton. 112.50 would be the ideal spot, which is previous low, annual pivot. But I might take the retrace if it comes into that 114 area, 114.20 area. That'd be the other spot. Okay, so anyway, that's it for me on this. I just want to remind you guys, make sure you guys are tuning in with Ricky's Watch. He's been doing an amazing job on his Sunday prep. Keep up the great work with that, making people work now from the fundamentals as well. He did a really great job last week going over the markets and industry stuff. It's tremendous value add, so keep up the great work with that, Ricky, and hopefully you guys are tuning in. If you guys are subscribing, you guys see when we're putting out live, content. So, and you're definitely going to want to subscribe because we're toying with the idea of doing some YouTube lives as well, somewhere in the mix. So that should be fun as well. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, make sure you guys do like, subscribe, leave any comments you have, good, bad, or indifferent, guys. I want to see them. I want to hear, what you guys think. If you think we're going too fast, if you think we're not covering the right names, if you have any questions about what we're doing. Anything. I'm good. I just love feedback. So let's keep it coming. And make sure you guys come check us out over at TrueTrader.net. I think you'd really love the community over there. So we appreciate it. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great night. And we'll see you bright and early in the morning. Thank you all.